In our second element of Module 1, we're looking at what wood is that. This is designed to be a 30-minute tutorial followed by a 30-minute group activity. Going through the index, we've included what wood is that, looking at hardwoods and softwoods. There are two activities, 1 and 2, followed by an activity book and a link to Trada. So the outcomes behind this module will enable students to have a better understanding about woods and where wood is used, and to be able to identify certain hardwoods and softwoods within the learning environment. What wood is that? We have two distinct types. We have evergreens, which grow quickly and retains its leaves. Then we have deciduous, which grow slower and lose their leaves in the autumn. The resources we're using in this presentation come from Trada. And you can see from the images that we have is you can see various types of woods and how their grains look. But predominantly, what's the distinction for a hardwood? It's slow growing, common uses in furniture, wall paneling and flooring, and they tend to be more solid, tight grained and harder to carve. On this page we are showing a lot more information and detail which comes from Trada's website. So you can see that we have the European oak, we have its Latin name, which is Quercus rubra, and you can, by reading through the text, you'll get a much better understanding as to how the timber is resourced and where it's used. So I have identified 5 hardwoods which are commonly seen within the UK, whether it's the oak, ash and beech. All of them are very tall trees, sometimes some of them reaching up to 100 meters. Then we have the elm, which is sadly dying because of Dutch elm disease, cherry and birch, which are much smaller trees. The distinction for softwoods is that they are mostly evergreen. They grow very quickly within 30 years. There's a smaller genus group, and so they're either divided into pine, cedar, spruce, redwoods and larch. The common use for softwoods is very much for frameworks, windows, cladding and internal mouldings. Softwoods are identified by 2 leaf types. We have the scaled leaf type, which you tend to find on the cypress trees, and then we have the needles, which you will see on like Douglas firs or Christmas trees. Again, the data included from Trada gives you much more information regarding redwoods and how it's been used. So here we've identified 5 softwoods. So we have Pinus sylvatica, which is a redwood. We have cedars and we have larch. Other softwoods are yew trees, Scots pine, and we have the Douglas fir, which is predominantly used for Christmas trees as well as in the timber industry. So in group activity 1, we look to form the students into groups of 4 and 6 and to actually complete their names within the workbook. So the aim behind the groups is to identify 5 types of wood which may be used around the school environment. So these things could be things like cladding, internal or external walls, tops to desks, fencing to external boundaries. So in the second activity, we're asking the students to actually sketch and photograph each of the 5 examples and log this information in the workbook. They may also wish to be encouraged to actually gather leaves which they can press, and now they can draw them and again include them within the workbook. I've included a link here at the bottom from the Woodland Trust, which provides an app which can be downloaded to any iOS device, mobile phone, and that could be used to actually identify kinds of woods by simply using the app. So in our group activity book, we have 2 pages. So on page 1, we have various columns. So first of all, let's find the wood, let's name it, try and find its Latin name, write down its location, and then perhaps add a short description, and perhaps include a photograph. Included in the presentation are sketchbooks as well as layout book, together with the link to Trada, which, as I said earlier, have an excellent resource which are available to schools and higher education and further education, and I hope that as a resource you will find it very useful and the students will find it useful.